here are the best drivers from the 2000s. At number 5, we're shining the spotlight on a driver whose career arc reads like a Hollywood script, Jenson Button, a man who went from nearly quitting Formula One to becoming the sport's ultimate underdog champion. Strap in, because this story has more twists than Spa-Francorchamps. Let's rewind to 2000. A 20-year-old Jenson Button, fresh out of Formula 3, was thrust into the spotlight as Williams' new golden boy. The British press hailed him as the next Senna, but reality hit hard. Partnered with Ralf Schumacher, Jenson struggled to adapt. His rookie season was a mixed bag, a points finish in only his second race at Brazil, but also spins, crashes, and a glaring lack of consistency. By 2002, he'd been loaned to Renault, a team rebuilding after buying Benetton. But here's the kicker. Renault boss Flavio Briatore publicly trashed him, calling Button a lazy playboy who didn't deserve a seat. Harsh? Absolutely. But Jenson didn't flinch. He scored points regularly, even out-qualifying teammate Trulli 9-7. Yet, by 2003, Briatore replaced him with Fernando Alonso. Ouch. Enter Honda Racing, a team with deep pockets but zero direction. From 2003 to 2008, Button's career became a revolving door of hope and despair. The 2004 Bar Honda gave him a glimmer of brilliance, 10 podiums and a third-place championship finish. Remember that iconic battle with Michael Schumacher at Imola? Jenson held off the 7-time champ for laps, finishing second and proving he could tango with the greats. But by 2007, Honda's car was a disaster. The RA107, painted in a livery resembling a psychedelic Earth graphic, was so slow that Button quipped, "I could count the grandstand seats while driving." In 2008, things got worse. The car's aerodynamics were so flawed, it couldn't even pass crash tests. Jenson scored just 3 points all year. Behind the scenes, he considered retirement. Then came the plot twist nobody saw coming. In December 2008, Honda quit F1 amid the global financial crisis. Overnight, Button was unemployed. But team principal Ross Brawn, the mastermind behind Schumacher's Ferrari dynasty, staged a Hail Mary. He bought the team for £1, secured a Mercedes engine deal, and rebranded it Brawn GP. The secret weapon? A double diffuser, a radical aerodynamic design that exploited a loophole in the 2009 regulations. Rival teams cried foul, but the FIA ruled it legal. Overnight, Brawn GP went from laughingstock to untouchable. 2009's opening race in Australia was Brawn's statement of intent. Button qualified on pole by 0.6 seconds, a margin so big, rivals thought the timing screens were broken. He won the race, then did it again in Malaysia in a monsoon. While others hydroplaned, Jenson danced through the spray like it was a ballet. By Turkey, he'd won 6 of the first 7 races. But here's what made it extraordinary. Brawn GP was running on shoestring budgets. The team had no sponsors, the mechanics worked unpaid for months, and the cars were built with spare parts. Button's steering wheel even had a hole where Honda's logo had been hastily removed. But the fairy tale nearly unraveled. By mid-season, Red Bull's Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber cracked the double diffuser code. Suddenly, Button's dominance vanished. At Silverstone, he qualified a dismal 6th, later admitting, "I forgot how to drive." Fans and pundits wrote him off. Yet in Brazil, the season finale, Button delivered a drive for the ages. Starting 14th in torrential rain, he sliced through the field with surgical precision. A bold early switch to intermediates, a daring pass on Kamui Kobayashi, and a final lap charge to 5th place sealed the title. As he crossed the line, Brawn GP's garage erupted in tears. Jenson, ever the gentleman, dedicated the win to his late father, John, who'd mortgaged his house to fund his son's karting career. At number 4, we have the enigma who redefined the word unfiltered, Kimi Matthias Räikkönen. The man who once skipped a PR event to ride a jet ski, told his engineer to shut up mid-race, and still became a world champion by doing, well, whatever the hell he felt like. Let's break down why the Iceman isn't just a meme. He's one of the most fearless and technically gifted drivers of the 2000s. But McLaren saw something special. They signed him for 2002, pairing him with David Coulthard, the Iceman versus the Scotsman, a rivalry that had defined McLaren's chaotic early 2000s. Kimi's McLaren years were like a Shakespearean tragedy, full of brilliance, bad luck, and engines bursting into flames. Let's break down the pain. McLaren's engineers probably had nightmares about Kimi's car disintegrating. But here's the kicker. Despite the chaos, Kimi outqualified Coulthard 35-15 and outscored him 246-124 over 3 years. The Iceman wasn't just unlucky, he was unstoppable when fate cut him a break. After 5 years of McLaren misery, Kimi did the unthinkable in 2007. He joined Ferrari and immediately became the quiet killer nobody saw coming. With 2 races left, Kimi trailed Lewis Hamilton by 17 points. The media wrote him off. So what did he do? Kimi didn't just win the title by 1 point, he broke British hearts and proved that ice runs in his veins. His post-race celebration? A quiet drink, followed by disappearing for a month to party on a yacht. No press, no PR, just Kimi being Kimi. But by 2009, Ferrari favored Massa. Kimi's response? I know what I'm doing. I don't need to prove anything. He left F1 in 2010, but we'll get to the Lotus comeback another day. Kimi wasn't just a driver, he was a vibe. Here's why he's F1's cult hero. Kimi wasn't just a driver, he was a vibe. Here's why he's F1's cult hero. While others did sponsor events, Kimi raced jet skis, drank vodka through his helmet, and once missed the Belgian GP podium because he was using the bathroom. Kimi hated debriefs. His feedback? The car is bad. Fix it. Engineers loved him for it. As McLaren's Ron Dennis said, Kimi drives the car as fast as it can go. If it breaks, that's our problem. But don't mistake his chill for apathy. Kimi's 2005 Japanese GP drive, starting 17th, passing Fisichella around the outside of 130R, was as aggressive as Senna in his prime. He just didn't feel the need to brag about it. Still think Kimi was just a meme? Rewatch Suzuka 2005 and tell me he's not a top 5 driver of the 2000s. Drop your favorite Kimi moment below. Mine's the time he took an ice cream break during a red flight. Classic Iceman. At number 3, we have the rookie who didn't just break the mold, he shattered it into a million pieces. Lewis Hamilton's arrival in Formula One wasn't just a debut, it was a seismic event that shook the sport to its core. Lewis Hamilton's story begins in a modest council estate in Stevenage, England. At just 8 years old, he approached McLaren boss Ron Dennis at an awards ceremony and said, "I want to drive for you one day." Dennis, impressed by the boy's confidence, signed him to McLaren's Young Driver program. Fast forward to 2007, and Hamilton was stepping into the cockpit of a McLaren Mercedes as a 22-year-old rookie, paired with reigning double world champion Fernando Alonso. Hamilton's debut season was nothing short of historic. In his very first race at Melbourne, he finished on the podium, a feat no rookie had achieved since Jacques Villeneuve in 1996. But Hamilton didn't stop there. He podiumed in his first 9 races, including back-to-back wins in Canada and the United States. The Monaco Grand Prix that year was a defining moment. In qualifying, Hamilton delivered a lap so breathtaking that even his critics had to admit this kid was special. He finished second, just 0.7 seconds behind Alonso, and later described the lap as one of the best of my career. But Hamilton's meteoric rise wasn't without controversy. His relationship with Alonso quickly soured. At the Hungarian Grand Prix, tensions boiled over when Hamilton ignored team orders to let Alonso pass during qualifying. Alonso retaliated by blocking Hamilton in the pits, earning a penalty that dropped him to 6th on the grid. The feud became so toxic that Alonso left McLaren at the end of the season. If 2007 was a statement, 2008 was a masterpiece. Hamilton entered the season with a point to prove, and he did so in spectacular fashion. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone was a masterclass in wet weather driving. Starting 4th, Hamilton dominated the race, lapping the entire field and finishing over a minute ahead of second-place Nick Heidfeld. It was a performance that drew comparisons to Ayrton Senna's legendary wet weather drives. But the season wasn't without its challenges. Hamilton faced fierce competition from Ferrari's Felipe Massa, and the title fight went down to the wire in Brazil. The Interlagos circuit was soaked, and Hamilton needed a 5th-place finish to clinch the title. With Massa leading the race, Hamilton found himself stuck in 6th after a late pit stop for intermediate tires. On the final lap, as rain began to fall again, Hamilton made a daring move on Timo Glock's Toyota, which was struggling on dry tires. He passed Glock in the final corners to take 5th place and the championship by 0.6 seconds. The scenes that followed were unforgettable. Massa's family celebrated prematurely in the Ferrari garage, only for their joy to turn to heartbreak. Hamilton, meanwhile, was overcome with emotion, screaming, "Is that it? Am I champion?" over the radio. At number 2, we have the man who didn't just challenge the establishment, he dismantled it. Fernando Alonso, the driver who took on Michael Schumacher at his peak, outsmarted Lewis Hamilton as a rookie and proved that raw talent and relentless determination could topple even the mightiest dynasties. Alonso's journey to F1 greatness began in the small Spanish town of Oviedo. Born into a working-class family, he started karting at the age of 3, funded by his father's overtime shifts at an explosives factory. By 1999, he was dominating Formula Nissan, catching the eye of Flavio Briatore, who signed him to the Renault Young Driver program. Alonso made his F1 debut in 2001 with Minardi, a backmarker team. Despite the car's limitations, he stunned the paddock with his maturity and racecraft. At the 2001 Brazilian Grand Prix, he held off faster cars to finish 10th, earning his first championship point. It was a glimpse of what was to come. Promoted to Renault in 2003, Alonso announced himself as a future champion. At Hungary, he became the youngest driver to win a Grand Prix at 22 years old, breaking Bruce McLaren's 43-year-old record. His victory was no fluke. He dominated the weekend, taking pole and leading every lap. The F1 world took notice. A new challenger had arrived. The 2005 season was Alonso's masterpiece. Driving the Renault R25, he took on Michael Schumacher and Ferrari, who had dominated F1 for 5 years. Alonso's brilliance wasn't just in his speed, it was in his consistency. He finished on the podium in 15 of 19 races, including 7 wins. One of his defining moments came at Suzuka 2005. Starting 16th after a rain-affected qualifying, Alonso carved through the field with surgical precision. In the closing laps, he hunted down Giancarlo Fisichella, pulling off a breathtaking around the outside pass at 130R, one of the fastest corners in F1. He won by 1.6 seconds, a drive that showcased his racecraft, bravery, and tire management. In 2006, Alonso faced an even tougher challenge. Schumacher and Ferrari were back with a vengeance, and the title fight went down to the wire. Alonso's win at Monaco 2006, a race he dominated from pole, was a statement of intent, but it was his defensive masterclass at Monza that defined his season. With Schumacher breathing down his neck for 15 laps, Alonso held firm, using every trick in the book to keep the Ferrari at bay. The season finale in Brazil was a nail-biter. Alonso needed just 1 point to clinch the title, but Schumacher was determined to go out on top. In the end, Alonso finished second, securing his second consecutive championship. At 25, he was the youngest double champion in F1 history, a record that stood until Sebastian Vettel broke it in 2011. Alonso's move to McLaren in 2007 was supposed to be a coronation. Instead, it became one of the most tumultuous seasons in F1 history. Paired with rookie Lewis Hamilton, Alonso found himself in a team that seemed to favor the young Brit. The tension boiled over at Hungary 2007, where Alonso allegedly held Hamilton in the pits during qualifying, costing him a chance at pole. The fallout was explosive. Alonso threatened to reveal McLaren's involvement in the Spygate scandal, leading to a $100 million fine for the team. Despite the chaos, Alonso nearly won the title. He took 4 wins, including a dominant performance at Monza, where he held off Hamilton in a straight fight. But the infighting and Hamilton's brilliance cost him dearly. In the end, Alonso and Hamilton tied on points, with Kimi Räikkönen snatching the title by 1 point. After a disappointing return to Renault in 2008-2009, Alonso joined Ferrari in 2010, hoping to emulate his idol, Schumacher. While he didn't replicate Schumacher's dominance, Alonso came agonizingly close to adding a 3rd title. And number 1, the driver who didn't just dominate F1 but redefined it, Michael Schumacher. The man who turned Ferrari from a laughingstock into a dynasty, the Red Baron, the GOAT. Schumacher's story began in 1991 with Jordan, but it was at Benetton where he first showed his genius. In 1994, he won his first title under controversial circumstances, clashing with Damon Hill in Adelaide to secure the championship. In 1995, he dominated with 9 wins, proving he wasn't just lucky, he was unstoppable. But Schumacher's true legacy began in 1996 when he joined Ferrari. The prancing horse hadn't won a title since 1979. The car was unreliable, the team disorganized. But Schumacher saw potential. He brought with him a work ethic that bordered on obsession. Schumacher didn't just drive for Ferrari, he rebuilt the team. He brought in key personnel like Ross Brawn and Rory Byrne, creating a culture of excellence. By 1997, he was fighting for titles again, though his infamous clash with Jacques Villeneuve at Jerez cost him the championship and a disqualification. But Schumacher never gave up. In 2000, after years of heartbreak, he finally delivered Ferrari's first driver's title in 21 years. The emotional scenes at Suzuka, Schumacher in tears hugging Jean Todt, were a testament to his relentless drive. From 2000 to 2004, Schumacher and Ferrari were untouchable. 5 straight titles, 48 wins, 53 poles. The F2004 is still considered the most dominant car in F1 history. 15 poles, 13 wins, and a win rate of 72%. Schumacher's mastery wasn't just about speed, it was about strategy. At France 2004, he executed a 4-stop strategy to beat Fernando Alonso by 0.8 seconds. At Hungary 1998, he pulled off a 19-lap qualifying stint on drying tires to steal pole. His ability to adapt to changing conditions was unparalleled. The Schumacher's will to win often crossed ethical lines. At Austria 2002, team orders forced Rubens Barrichello to hand him the win, sparking global outrage. At Monaco 2006, he parked his car in qualifying to block rivals, earning a penalty. But these moments, while controversial, underscored his relentless drive. Schumacher didn't just want to win, he needed to. Behind the cold exterior was a man who cared deeply for his team. He'd spend hours testing tires, working with engineers, and inspiring mechanics. His bond with Jean Todt and Ross Brawn was familial. Schumacher's emotional moments, crying after Suzuka 2000, hugging his father after Monaco 1997, showed a man who, despite his ruthlessness, was deeply human. Schumacher didn't just break records, he set the standard for modern F1. His 91 wins, 7 titles, and relentless drive inspired a generation. He transformed Ferrari into a powerhouse, proving that with enough determination, even the impossible is achievable. But Schumacher's legacy isn't just about numbers, it's about the way he made us feel. The thrill of watching him push a car to its limits, the heartbreak of his defeats, the joy of his triumphs. Michael Schumacher wasn't just a driver, he was a phenomenon. And the 2000s weren't just his era, they were his masterpiece.